Hey guys, how's it been going? This is JSer. In this video, let's take a look at the new API only in Chrome, which is the isInputPending. And this API is proposed by Facebook. I think they are proposing this because they're doing something in the concurrent mode of React, right? Okay, so here is very simple. There's an input, and there's a label which is empty, and there is a stop button. When this button is clicked, the start function will be called. And this function will continuously update the label with increment I. So we would expect that the label will increment itself, right? Showing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But actually, if we know the internals of the event loop, we know that it won't happen, right? Because this while loop, infinite loop, will take up all the resources, block the event loop, so forbids it from updating the UI. So the event loop doesn't have a chance to update the UI in the to the user. So we actually will see the empty label forever. Let's take a look. So we start. Okay, now the infinite loop is going on, and we actually the tab actually freezes. We cannot focus the input, we cannot click the start anymore, right? The only thing we can do is close the tab, forcefully close it. So I'll close it. Okay, so that's for the basic example. Now we have a chance to improve this by splitting our task into small chunks. So give us the browser a chance to update the UI. So the solution is pretty simple. We just break the while loop and schedule our task later in the second task. In the future task, we can use set timeout, we can use a post message, we can use message channel, we could use anything other, but just not continue our while loop infinitely. Okay, so let's just stop our while loop here if we meet every 100 updates, right? So I every 100 update, we would yield our control to the browser. So by that we would mean break, and if we break, there is no more continuing of our task in the future. So we set timeout start with 0 second, which would continue after the UI updates, right? Let's take a look at how it goes. Let's reload and start. Okay, now that we can see that the UI is updating, but notice that the last two digits actually are not, right? The last two digits are not updated because we are only give the control to the UI after every 100 trigger of the update. If you want to do it better, we could actually say 10. Yeah, you can see the last digit only, or you can do more. You can just say, okay, every time we will set timeout. Well, this is probably nice, but maybe not. Okay, it depends on our scenarios. Okay, so that's it. So we could use set timeout to schedule our task in the future. But now we have another solution to this one, which is inputPending, which is a new API, which actually will return us give us the flag of whether user is interacting with our web application. Okay, so here, let's say if we rather than we yield our control every 100 round, we could say if navigator scheduling is input pending. If there's some other user interacting, we just break. And okay, now we could break ourselves. Say which should be yield ourselves. So set timeout start 0. It means that rather than we update every 100 rounds, we update when user interacts. So stop us. We stop ourselves when user interacts, right? And then when user stop interacting, we continue our task. So give us the priority, right? So the user interaction has higher priority and then our while loop here. So let's see what happens now. So this is a third example. Okay, start. This is the same as the first one because we don't have interactions. But now if we click on the input, you can see that the update is happening, right? And after just happened twice and then it stops. If we click it somewhere else, it still triggered the update. It means that, okay, if I'm not interacting, then there's no UI update. Then we can just continue our work, just taking up the resources and do it as fast as possible. But if we freeze the UI, there's no problem if we freeze the UI. Oh, paging in some problem here. Okay. If we freeze the UI, but there's nothing to update, then there's no problem, right? Because there's no difference we need to show. But if a user interacts, we update the UI, and we don't take up the process. So this is it. This is what the input pending is doing. When the user is interacting, we can schedule our task in the next round. So this is it. Pretty interesting. But currently this API is actually only implemented in Chrome, so no other browsers are following. And actually this example is not a very useful example. It's only just shows the abilities of how we can know the user interactions. User is interacting and break out, and then we can have a chance to break ourselves. This is not a useful example. We should consider how we can use this API appropriately. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope it helps. See you next time. Bye bye.